I'm Alison from Newcastle Speech Pathology, and welcome to another one of our video series. So today we're talking with Suzie Garmeister from Branch and Vine Nutrition in Newcastle. She's a nutritionist, and she's been chatting to us about nutrition and behaviour and how food can affect our children, about their learning, and this is a great way for us to start the year because we're looking at getting our kids off to the best start for the school year. So today, Suzie, I thought I'd love to chat with you about what should we be feeding our children when they're at school?
Okay.
I know as a parent it's very hard to think of creative new ideas all the time, and often our kids want the same foods every day, the same type of sandwiches. What advice have you got about bringing out the best nutrition in our lunchboxes?
Okay, I do get asked this question here and there, and I do want to preface it with I am not a chef. I am not the world's best cook. I could not write cookbooks like some other nutritionists or chefs out there do. So I like to keep it simple. And for my family, we do keep it simple because we have a number of food intolerances, and so that just makes it necessary. But it is really important to have a healthy lunchbox for your kids, and it really helps with their growth and their learning and their energy and their focus and so on. And I'd just like to start, if I can, and say what I think is an unhealthy lunchbox because it's usually resonates with people better. So an unhealthy lunchbox is one that is laden with processed, refined, or sometimes called simple carbohydrate food. They're the ones that are marketed really well to parents and kids. They're generally cheap, they're easy to pack, and they're addictive. So in they go to the lunchbox. And I totally understand that, particularly when parents are busy. But the types of things would be packet chips, a piece of cake, cookies, savoury biscuits. Shapes are really important, those little packet biscuits, sugar-laden muesli bars, roll-ups, white bread with a simple spread on it, like say honey or just Vegemite, flavoured milks, flavoured yogurts, juice and soft drink. Then you've got tuck shop food. Some tuck shops are selling meat pies, garlic bread, hot dogs. Like, the more I go on, the more it gives me a little bit of a panic.
Thank you for describing so many of the lunchboxes out there, and I know as a parent I've been guilty of grabbing the packet food and putting it in because it is quick and easy.
Totally, it is totally. I totally understand.
So give us some hope about what we can do to change this.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll talk about the healthier lunchboxes, and yes, it does require a bit more time and effort, but the gain is a healthier child, and then you're not dealing with them staying at home or getting in trouble at school or not focusing or the grades. So keep that in mind when you're thinking this is taking time. But it doesn't have to. As I said, we do simple at home. So a healthy lunchbox is one that will contain healthy proteins, healthy fats, and healthy carbs. So carbs are not bad, but there's healthy carbs and there's unhealthy carbs. So proteins in the form of, chicken or ham or beef or, some sort of meat protein, eggs, cheese, yogurts, but healthy yogurts, and you can add some fruit to that. Nuts and seeds. I know nuts can be controversial or disallowed at certain schools, but there's a number of schools that do allow it, particularly maybe in high school. So that's kind of your healthy protein side. Your healthy fats are going to be avocado, again yogurts, and you can do coconut yogurt if you've got a dairy issue, olives, olive oil, cheese, again nuts and seeds. And then the healthy carbohydrates are the unprocessed carbohydrates, and that actually includes vegetables, your fruit, whole fruit, not just a juice, but whole fruit, legumes, whole grains, and again nuts and seeds. So you can see that some foods fall in each category, and that's because they're from nature and they give us a complement of what are called these macronutrients, and they're the good nutrients. They're the ones that are going to give your children, in this case, more energy, more ability to focus, balance their moods so that they're not getting this high blood sugar lift and then a drop. And it also helps them with their growth and their immune system, their hormones. They're important for so many things.
Now I know at this time of the year a lot of kids are out choosing their brand new lunchboxes and getting really excited about the different options they've got and things that they could put in them. Tell me a bit about what you do in your family, because you don't always go for the standard lunchbox, do you? No,
I think it's standard now, and I actually, if my children have a friend stay the night, I have to say, what does everyone else eat? I kind of forget. But so a standard lunchbox, I actually got some examples. Do you want me to show some examples of lunches
Absolutely. Tell us about some lunches.
could be useful for people, and of course,
thinking also because you're very good at doing some hot lunches for your kids as well. So
yes. So I'll just preface that with a really good tip that I learnt years ago, and that is to actually buy some hot food thermoses. They're usually hot and cold, so you can put salads in them and hot food. Leftovers are great. You don't have to have sandwiches all the time for lunch. We can't. We're a family of gluten intolerant, so that makes it a little bit more difficult to have sandwiches. But hot food from what you've cooked at dinner is great in those hot thermoses. But some examples of a really good lunchbox. If you can have gluten and you're into sandwiches, which is totally great, whole grain bread or rye, like just break away from the white bread or the wholemeal. It's really void of nutrients. So whole grain bread or rice sandwiches, and put on some turkey, some lettuce, avocado, tomato, whatever the kids enjoy, but introducing the salads, but having a protein and a healthy fat in there as well is really great. You could then do some bean and salsa dip, and that could be with some seeded crackers, or if they like carrot sticks or celery or cucumber, that's great. And it's a bit of fun too, particularly for the little kids. A chopped protein ball, and I can give some recipes later if you like.
Yes.
These are really yummy, but also have some good ingredients in them. And then you can do things like cubes of cheese with some crackers, depending on how young the child is. I've got teenagers, so the lunch boxes are full, and then they go through growth spurts and they need extra again. But there's the type of things, plus a piece of fruit. And I just say go with water. They do not need juice, definitely not soft drink, or flavoured milk. It's just too much sugar, and it is void of nutrients for them.
They sound delicious, those lunch boxes.
Well, that's one, and I can give you more if you like, or I can put them on the bottom of the website.
I think we'll have a link to your page where you've got some recipes, which is great, with some other ideas.
Yep.
So the main tip, what would you say to parents who go, I just don't think my kids are going to eat that? They've always had the muesli bars, they've always had the chips, they like the white bread. Have you got any advice for those parents?
Start young, right? So when they're home, and if you've got children in primary school, start now. It is harder when they're teenagers, it's much harder, but it's still doable. And often I've seen some teenagers they've requested to come and see a nutritionist, or they've actually said to their mum or dad that they've got some issues. So they've come and see me, and they're starting to get just wary of their bodies and not wanting to put on weight, or they've got some skin issues and so on. So you can get to the teenagers as well, but start young if you can. You're in control of what's in your house. Start with what you're feeding them at dinner. Make a really nice healthy meal. You can hide veggies, and you can hide the proteins and so on in there, and then you can actually give that to them, their favourite meal for lunchtime. Other tips are, start with a really good breakfast. I know it's outside the school lunches, but if they're starting the day on a good healthy protein, healthy fats and healthy carb breakfast, that will set them in the right mode. When they're eating processed carbs and sugars, it is an addiction, and if that's what they're starting the day with, they're going to crave more. It is a weaning off process. Do wean off. That can actually be helpful, and say just try what else is on your plate. So you might have what you started with, your not so healthy lunchbox, but you've got some healthy food in there, and say eat that first, then you can have that, and slowly wean them back off those addictive high processed foods. Make it fun for them. So I said, dips and cheese cubes and some, yogurt in a tub. So it might be some Greek yogurt, but they can then throw in some seeds and some fruit and a little bit of maple syrup or something. So make it a bit of fun for them, particularly the younger ones. They enjoy playing with their food.
And that's great. I think that you mentioned getting them involved to help out to make the lunches.
Yeah.
And I love that idea about bringing the leftovers the next day in the thermos container, because if they've enjoyed it one night, they'll enjoy it the next. So
totally. And I have found
a great start.
That is a little bit different for most kids, but I have had my children go, I had to share my lunch today, because the smell of what comes out of that thermos, particularly in winter, and you've got some nice hot soup or casserole or leftover spaghetti bolognese, which hidden in there are veggies and all sorts. The kids, their friends are wanting it. They're bored with the sandwiches and go, what is that?
Yeah.
So it actually can be a change to their friends and how they're thinking as well.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. That is fantastic. We're going to put a link to your social pages where you share your recipes at the bottom of the video.
Yep.
And we just want to encourage you to think about some of these great things that Susie's mentioned today to get our kids off to a great start to the new year. And thanks for watching.